First off, thank you for the opportunity to talk about the University of Georgia Small Business Development Center's International Trade Center. At UGA's International Trade Center, we help Georgia businesses who are engaged in either exporting or importing of product and services into the U.S. Additionally, we do a limited amount of training for those companies who have an existing domestic business and are looking at doing trading, either exporting or importing. So today I want to spend just a few moments to talk about how we can help companies here in Georgia with international trade. And during the discussion, we're going to talk about the key components of international trade and things a business owner is going to need in order to be able to successfully conduct international business. So how do we help businesses at the International Trade Center? Well, actually, we help businesses based on what their needs are. But for the purpose of this presentation, I have kind of summarized some of the key issues that we traditionally deal with small business. Any business is going to be able to have a unique set of problems and challenges when developing international markets. But these are just some key components that you're going to have to look at as a business owner. First off, let's talk about market intelligence. In order to successfully be a proactive international business, you must think about, number one, where you're going to be trading with, what countries, what markets present the best opportunities for you. Well, when a business owner comes to us or a business comes to us here at the International Trade Center, things we look at, number one, is we want to make sure that we can find the best potential markets for a particular product or service. And we do this by doing market research. How do we look at potential markets? Part of that is looking at what existing trade is already going on between two countries. We are lucky that we have access to some extremely good databases here at the University of Georgia. Trade data is available based on the type product that you're exporting. And those products are categorized by what's known as harmonized system codes, or HS codes. Each product is assigned a unique HS code, and that code gives us a basis of looking at trade data. For example, we can look at specific trade patterns between countries based on HS codes. And from that data, over time, we can see what the trends are and hopefully develop a listing of best potential markets for products. Now, obviously, there's more to finding an international market than just trade data itself. We look at the other components. How is the business positioned domestically here in the U.S.? What are their strengths and weaknesses? And what might best help them find or be suited in an external market? We look for commonality of markets. If we're here trading in the U.S. on a regular basis and we're looking at potential foreign markets, then what foreign markets have common characteristics that might make them a good potential foreign market for a company? Now, beyond just looking at markets, we've also got to look inside that foreign market. How does the sales channels look in the market? Are sales channels traditionally in those foreign markets? How is a product or service sold? Is it sold directly to a consumer? Is it sold through distributors, reps, etc.? So we've got to not only look at where the volume of trade is going, but internally in that foreign market, what are the channels of distributions and what might work best for this U.S. company that's looking abroad. Now, additionally, beyond the best market potential and internally how sales are conducted, we've also got to look at regulatory issues, i.e., can a company actually get a product into that foreign market with ease? Some countries are more difficult than others to enter. And oftentimes it's a matter of regulations, additional requirements, maybe certificates, etc. So we've got to determine how easy it is to get a product into that foreign market from a regulatory standpoint. And all this combined, we look at other issues such as just general risk assessment. A country may present good opportunities on the front side, but we also have to look at political risk, economic risk, and even military risk. How safe and secure and sound is that country? We don't want to be spending a lot of time and capital looking into a market where the risks are really high and it's not going to be the best potential for a market. So again, we do our basic market intelligence just to determine how and what markets are best for a potential company. Then, once we've looked at a country and we've determined maybe what the best potentials are, we have to look into other basic issues regarding exporting. Number one, we look at what's the landed cost for a potential product. And what does that mean? Landed cost is basically the cost that a foreign customer is going to have to pay for a product once it hits the shores of that country. And the landed cost calculation is really critical because most foreign companies, or customers rather, are going to be asking that as an initial question. What's the landed cost of your product here in my country? That landed cost includes not only our cost here in the US of production, but shipping costs, insurance costs, etc. What's the cost of actually getting it to the country? Next thing we look at is something we call strategic pricing, i.e., what's the best price for your product? How do you want to position that product in that foreign market? Do you want to be a low-cost product? Do you want to be a high-quality product and maybe sustain a little higher pricing levels? So again, we're looking at all these sales and marketing issues. We also help our clients do what's known as quotes. An international quote is just simply when a foreign customer inquires of a U.S. company, hey, can you give me a price on your product? That's officially known as a quote when you send that back to them. And that international quote is going to be the basis or the beginning point for a lot of future negotiations. Additionally, we help companies with what's known as pro forma invoices. Pro forma invoices, once we've gotten past the quotes and we're ready to do business, we have to send them an official invoice. And that invoice is the initial or formal quote that is provided to that foreign customer. And that document is the basis for a lot of things, including maybe potential foreign payment methods, etc. Now, the last issue is something that we talk about a lot too, and it's called cross-cultural negotiations. These are negotiations between the actual process of negotiating between the actual customer in that foreign country and the U.S. business. Each country can be a little bit unique. Some countries' sales take place in a rather short period of time. In other countries, it takes quite a long time to develop a relationship and actually get a sale. So we try to educate our clients on how to best understand that country's cultural expectations of sales. All of these together are important for understanding the sales and marketing process. The next area we often help our clients with is global payments and logistics. It's important to understand that how payments between a U.S. company and a foreign company take place. There are inherent risks in that. You have a lot of logistical issues you have to consider. So what we want to do is educate our U.S. companies on that process. And the things we typically talk about and a company has to consider are things such as import duties. When we ship a product from the U.S. to a foreign country, oftentimes that foreign country will impose duties or tariffs on those products. We need to know what those are. The next item we want to consider is VAT taxes. VAT stands for value added taxes. Those value added taxes are often imposed by foreign countries on products that enter their country. And we need to understand how those products are going to be taxed and ultimately what those taxes are going to do in relation to the foreign market price of our product. An important thing to think about too also in the process of planning for exporting is whether or not the country in which we're looking at has a foreign trade agreement. FTAs, or foreign trade or free trade agreements, are agreements between countries that may eliminate or severely reduce tariffs. The US has about 14 free trade agreements in place now. Those free trade agreements will allow for, in most cases, no tariffs to be placed on products that are traded between countries. Those free trade agreements are unique to each other, and an exporter has to look at the terms of those free trade agreements to see if their product would qualify. The next key issue with exporting and importing is this issue called Incoterms. Incoterms are logistical terminologies that are used globally, and they're the same throughout the world for how you ship products and who's responsible for what in the shipping process. Incoterms are critical to know and understand because you've got to know what your responsibilities are. It's also going to affect the price of a product. Finally, next is international payment terms. If a company has secured a deal, then just realizing that there are different international payment terms that can be used in international trade. It can be anything from requesting payment in advance to using a letter of credit to actually offering payment terms or open terms for that foreign buyer. Each of those are unique and liabilities exist with each, so an exporter has to understand that. Also part of this process is understanding export documentation. What's going to be required to actually get your product out of the country? And if you're shipping to a foreign country, what's going to be required from a document standpoint to get that product into the country? And finally, insurance. A big issue with a lot of our clients is making sure that the products that are exported or imported are properly insured. So if there's any issues or damage in the logistics chain, that those products are properly insured. Next, we talk about with our clients financing. U.S. exporters often need capital in order to make the export sale possible. And here in the U.S., there are several government agencies that will assist small businesses and medium-sized businesses in the financing process of exported transactions. For example, two of the agencies that are really active in this is the U.S. Small Business Administration and Ex-Im Bank, or the Export-Import Bank of the U.S. These are government agencies that actually offer programs that help U.S. exporters with any capital needs they may have with the exporting process. Well, what are we talking about? Let's say an exporter gets a deal and they're going to be shipping a large piece of equipment to a foreign buyer. That U.S. company is required to, in most cases, buy the equipment or components to the equipment from suppliers, thus a capital need. They have to produce it with labor, thus another capital need, and then they ship it. And it may be they don't get paid on that good until that shipment reaches the foreign shores. There's a long-term need for capital. Well, these U.S. agencies, such as the U.S. Small Business Administration and Ex-Im Bank, provide guarantee programs so that an exporter can go to a bank and get capital, and these federal agencies will actually guarantee that loan on behalf of the exporter. So banks are incented to make loans, and it makes the process of shipping possible. And we help our clients in regards to getting that loan package that's together. We help them in terms of looking at what financing options are available through these agencies and how it might be able to help them. Oftentimes, banks, if they're going to entertain applications for this, want to see certain documents from the U.S. exporter, and we can help our clients put together all the statements and the package that's going to be needed to present to that U.S. lender. And finally, we also look at the risk involved depending on the type financing. And oftentimes, if the U.S. exporter is selling to a foreign customer on terms, meaning they're giving them 30, 60 days to pay them, then there are ways to mitigate the risk in that open account sale. And usually that's through foreign credit insurance. And Ex-Im Bank is a provider to small businesses for that, and also private insurance companies can offer risk insurance on that sale, and that guarantees, based on certain criteria, that that sale is guaranteed 90 to 95% of the time. Now, here at the International Trade Center at UGA, we also offer a lot of continuing education classes for Georgia businesses that are just thinking about the process. We're offering and developing an export or import business, and we do that through our partnership with SCORE, which is Service Corps of Retired Executives. We offer currently an online version of that class that is available at no cost. For those companies that are much more established, we offer a unique education process called Export Georgia, where we pair Georgia companies with UGA Terry College of Intern students and our other partners in the exporting community here in Atlanta. And this is an in-depth program where Georgia companies who want to develop a proactive export plan can do so. Finally, we offer an online version of something we call Export U. Export U is an online tutorial that's designed for companies and individuals that just want to learn more about the exporting process. It's a great resource for anyone that wants to go there, and there's absolutely no cost to it. We at the International Trade Center work with what's known as the U.S. Export Assistance Center. And this is a collection of export service providers here in the Atlanta area. It includes the U.S. Department of Commerce, U.S. Small Business Administration's International Trade Office, the Georgia Department of Economic Development's International Trade area, also the Export-Import Bank of the U.S. This is a collection of all the export service providers, and collectively we help Georgia companies in that exporting process. Again, the UGA's International Trade Center, we're here to help small businesses, medium-sized businesses who want to export goods and services in the state of Georgia. You'll find a contact information for me, and please realize that if you, as a student, if you might be interested in an informal type working arrangement with an exporter, please feel free to contact me at these address points here, or you can find me at the phone listed above here, and we'll be more than happy to see if we can find an exporter that might have need for a student. No guarantees, but we'll try. Thank you.